Okay, I see Prerna is there also. Prerna, would you like to read?
Sweet mother, here you said, from beyond the frontiers of form, a new force can be evoked, a power of consciousness which is as yet unexpressed, and which, by its emergence, will be able to change the course of the things and give birth to a new world. Is the force you are speaking about the divine? What do you call the divine? Give me the definition of divine. We have already dealt with this here once. All that is upon earth is the expression of the divine. No, I'm asking you, what do you call the divine? You have an idea of the divine, haven't you? You say the divine. What do you mean by that? The creator. Should I continue?
Continue.
Yeah, the creator. That's but a word, the creator. Where have I said it was necessary to be identified with the divine in us? In the bulletin, I think, don't you remember? In any case, I have already told you many a time that the manifestation was progressive and will always be progressive, and that what it manifests in a certain period is only the beginning of something that will be manifested in the following age. Therefore, one reaches the summit of creation, one must come upon something which has not yet manifested, but will manifest, but will manifest since there are always new elements which manifest. This is exactly what I have said. I have said that if one attend the summit of consciousness and pass beyond the forms at present manifested, one would enter into contact with the force, a reality which is not yet manifested, but will manifest. And this summit of consciousness is never the last. For what has been attained one day, what seemed to be the final consciousness, will be only one step, so that the next day, in the next period, in the next age, there may manifest something which was beyond and not then ready to manifest, not on the point of being manifested.
Clear?
Not at all.
Who's this? Oh, Ila.
Yeah.
Why?
Because she uses the
Me
word
also.
in so many, about 6 times in one sentence. To be manifest, if not manifested, then it will be manifest, and then it won't. I've completely lost track. I really don't know what the point is. The whole. I mean, I don't really understand what she's trying to say.
She's just saying that she's explaining this sentence because the question is about this sentence. From beyond the frontiers of form, a new force can be evoked. Frontiers of form meaning beyond time and space. New force can be evoked, a power of consciousness which is as yet unexpressed, and which, by its emergence, will be able to change the course of things and give birth to a new world. In that chapter, she's talking of the supermind. In the second part of towards the end of the psychic and spiritual education chapter. That is what it refers to. So this questioner asks that when you are referring to this phenomena and the new force, are you speaking about the divine? So she's saying, okay, what do you call the divine? I've explained to you many times. Creator is again just another word. So she's explaining this concept of this new force manifesting. And she says, whatever has been manifested, it doesn't exhaust the possibility. Evolution is progressive. So always there will be something new in a different age which will get manifested. So whatever is manifested today Something new will happen tomorrow. Something new will happen next century. New meaning not worldly events, talking about the evolution and the manifestation of consciousness and the divine force. So it's not that the divine possibilities are exhausted. So that is what she's explaining here. That don't try and fix it, now this is the divine and that's it. It is.
It's iterative.
Uh, to put it very simply, we can never say this is it. There's always a beyond,
Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. She
Yeah.
said it 3 times. Actually, she said the same thing 3 times. So it's got a bit confusing. But actually, yeah, that's right. I mean, I think he's put it well. There's never an end. It's always WIP.
You have to remember she's talking to children. These are classes she's
How
taking.
do children ask these kinds of questions?
Yeah.
Children ask these kinds of questions.
These are actual conversations recorded. There are even audio.
What age are these children?
This I don't know exactly. All kinds of children used to come and adults used to come also. Because whenever the mother took a class, she would take, we will have to see which day it was. Sometimes these were Wednesday classes or something. So everybody would come. But her primary focus was the children. I don't know now. The rest is okay. There is an in between question which is more to do with the vital than, oh, what's happened? Okay, doesn't matter. Who wants to go next? Because we have completed everybody. Sagarika, you start again. This is a question very close to your heart.
So, oh, make it bigger, please.
Wait, is that big enough or more?
Uh, more, it will be better.
Okay.
Okay, now it's fine. Yes. How can depression be controlled? Oh my God. Oh, oh, there is a very simple way. Let's see. Depression occurs generally in the vital, and one is overpowered by depression only when one keeps the consciousness in the vital. When one remains there, the only thing to do is to get out of the vital and enter a deeper consciousness. Even the higher mind, the luminous higher mind, the most lofty thoughts have the power to drive away depression. Even when one reaches just the higher domain of thought, usually the depression disappears. But in any case, if one seeks shelter in the psychic, then there is no longer any room for depression. Wow. Depression may come from two causes, either from a want of vital satisfaction or from a considerable nervous fatigue of the body. Depression arises from psychic fatigue, physical fatigue is set right fairly easily. One has but to take rest. One goes to bed and sleeps until one feels well again, or else one rests, dreams, lies down. The want of vital satisfaction is pretty easily produced, and usually one must face it with one's reason, must feel it out of what does mean ferret?
Dig out, bring out.
Acha, must ferret out the cause of depression. What is brought about the lack of satisfaction in the vital? And then one looks at it straight in the face and asks oneself whether that indeed has anything to do with one's inner aspiration or whether it is simply quite an ordinary movement. Generally, one discovers that it has nothing to do with the inner aspiration, and one can quite easily overcome it and resume one's normal movement. If that does not suffice, then one must go deeper and deeper until one touches the psychic reality. Then one has only to put this psychic reality in in contact with the movement of depression. The instantaneously it will vanish into thin air. Hmm. Oh, one more sentence. Okay. As for fighting in the vital domain itself, well, some people are good fighters and love to struggle with their vital. But to tell you the truth, that is much more difficult. Yes, it is.
Are you a good fighter?
Not at all. That's why I fall in depression, na?
So don't try the vital method then.
Yes, yes. But I think I go in the depression that is, no, both. Fatigue, sometimes is body or sometimes is vital also. That's why.
So clear? She's given
Ye-
both physical, vital, mental, psychic ways to deal with depression. Final, of course, is the psychic, but okay. Who had read after? I think Pooja. Pooja, you were the next person, no?
I think Kirti.
No, it was Pooja. Pooja.
Once the psychic has come to the front, can it withdraw again? Yes. Generally, one has a series of experiences of identification, very intense at first, which later gradually diminish. And then one day you find that they have quite disappeared. Still, you must not be disturbed, for it is quite a common phenomenon. But next time, the second time, the contact is more easily obtained. And then comes a moment, which is not very far off, when as soon as one concentrates and aspires, one gets a contact. One may not have the power of keeping it all the time, but can get it at will. Then, from that moment, things become very easy. When one feels a difficulty or there is a problem to be solved, when one wants to make progress or there is just a depression to conquer or an obstacle to be overcome, or else simply for the joy of identification, for it is an experience that gives a very concrete joy. At the moment of identification, one truly feels a very, very great joy. Then, at any moment, whatever, one may pause, concentrate for a while, and aspire. And quite naturally, the contact is established, and all problems which were to be solved are solved. Simply to concentrate, to sit down and concentrate, to aspire in this way, and the contact is made, so to say, instantaneously. There comes a time, as I said, when this does not leave you. That is, it is in the depths of the consciousness and supports all that you do, and you never lose the contact. Then many things disappear. For instance, depression is one of these things. Discontentment, revolt, fatigue, depression, all these difficulties. And if one makes it a habit to step back, as we say, in one's consciousness and see on the screen of one's psychic consciousness, see all the circumstances, all the events, all the ideas, all the knowledge, everything. At that moment, one sees that and has an altogether sure guide for everything that one may do. But this perforce takes a very long time to come.
So this last bit is referring to that same exercise, self-observation and self-organization, which we have read other times. So this is how one can work on connecting with the psychic and how it can influence one's daily life. That is what it is dealing with. Anything to say, ask? Oh, there is quite a bit. I think we will stop here today. Is there anything you want to ask or discuss in this? Then I keep the screen on.
Can you, yes, Janani, can you make it more uh, clarity or simpler, this sentence, this paragraph,
Which one?
this one? Yes to this, the way of how to remove this. Yes, yes.
So the first part is which we read in the last conversation also, that once one has experienced a psychic contact, it doesn't stay, it disappears. Initially, you might have a lot of intense experiences, but then it kind of disappears. So she's saying, don't be disturbed, just continue trying, because this is very common. This happens with everybody. And next time, you will be able to connect with it more easily. You won't have to uh, do so much to, because you have now have the experience, you know what you are looking for. And then if one continues, there comes a moment that you don't have to, sit for 15 minutes before you start feeling anything. You just concentrate and aspire, and immediately you feel the connection. But still, the power to keep it all the time may not be there. That takes a long time. That all the time you're living in that consciousness, all the time you're aware of that inner psychic contact. Then she's saying how one can use this, even if one has sporadic, occasional contact. You can use it in your difficulties. Whenever you face a difficulty, any kind of difficulty, you just aspire, concentrate, and try and come in touch with the psychic, re-establish that contact. And the moment it is established, you will see that your attitude will change. Your problems will either not either stop appearing as problems to you, stressing you out, or you will even get a solution. You will know how to deal with it, what to do, what is the right thing to be said or done, right action to be taken, etc. That is what it is being said in this paragraph.
Thank you. Thank you, Devi.
So we have just a bit of the 2-3 questions more. Next time we will take that up, and that will bring us to the end of this thing which we started in January, 13 January. It's been a long journey and very nice. So we will conclude next time, and then we can see whether if we want to continue with something after a break, or we want to just put a stop. That decision we can take. You can reflect on it, and you can voice.
I have reflected. We want to go on. It really helps, there are so many gaps in your understanding. And when we are doing it collectively, I think it does make a difference.
Yeah, but these are the only chapters which the mother has written on education. I mean, there are more chapters in this series, more essays, like the 4 austerities and all, but they are not for children. They are for your own yoga, your own yogic practice. So, relevant to education directly, these are the chapters she has written. Of course, there is her entire volume 12, which has been compiled as volume 12, which has the work she did in school, her other conversations, her messages to children, to teachers, her conversations, advice to the teachers when they brought her a problem. All that is compiled in volume 12, which is called On Education. And then there are different conversations throughout her various volumes.
See, in my understanding, to be an effective teacher, you have to be an effective person yourself. I mean, a more resolved person. So any topic can be taken up for our clarity,
Let's see. Okay, thank you, everybody. See you next time. Bye. Okay, so we are on the last conversation about the psychic and spiritual education from 24th February 1954, and we read the first couple of questions. I think we read about depressions and also about the psychic withdrawal, correct?
Yes, Deep.
So let's continue with the couple of questions which are left. Ila, would you like to start and read this much?
Sure. I just start in, yeah, okay. Starting from to escape from life. Okay.
Yeah.
To escape from life and become identified with the unmanifest, isn't it necessary not only to be free from all egoism, but also to have the ego, also not to have the ego any longer? Naturally. But this very attitude of wanting to become identified with the unmanifest and letting the world suffer, isn't this selfishness? Yes, and so what happens is very remarkable. The result is always the same. Those who have done that at the last minute have received a sort of intimation that they had to return to the world and do their work. It is as though they reach the door and, no, not yet, go back and work. When the world is ready, then this will be all right. Indeed, this attitude of flight in the face of difficulty is a supreme selfishness. You are told, do this, and then when all the others have done it all will be well with the whole world. But it's only a very small elite among men who are ready to be able to do it. And these precisely are those who can be the most useful to the earth, for they know more about things than others, they have overcome many difficulties, and can be of help to others just where those others can't. But the whole human mass, the immense human mass, for when some have succeeded, even a few hundred, one may tend to think it is humanity, but truly speaking, it is only a kind of elite of humanity. It is a selection. The immense mass, all the people living all over the earth, merely in India, the immense population formidable, which lives in villages, the countryside, there is no question of their making an effort for liberation, to come out of the world in order to live the spiritual life. They don't even have the time to become aware of themselves. They're just there, attached to their work like a horse to the plow. They move in a rut from which generally they can't get out. So they can't be told, do as I do and all will be well, because do as I do means nothing at all. There are perhaps a few hundred who can do the same thing, no more.
Okay. So this is pretty simple and clear, right?
Yeah.
Anybody wants to say or ask anything? Shall we go ahead then?
Yeah.
This is pretty, well, this is the final one in any case. So let's read two paragraphs and pause and then take the next two paragraphs. Prerna, would you like to take this up?
Why does the body get tired? We have more or less regular activities, but one day we are full of energy and the next day we are quite tired. Generally, this comes from a kind of inner disequilibrium. There may be many reasons for it, but it all comes to this: a sort of disequilibrium between the different parts of the being. Now, it is also possible that the day one had the energy, one spent it too much, though this is not the case with children. Children spend it until they can no longer do so. One sees child active till the moment he suddenly falls fast asleep. He was there, moving, running, and then all of a sudden, pluff. Finished, he is asleep. And it is in this way that he grows up, becomes stronger and stronger. Consequently, it is not the spending that harms you. The expenditure is made up by the necessary rest. That is set right well, very well. No, it is a disequilibrium. The harmony between different parts of being is no longer sufficient. People think they have uh, they people think they have only to continue doing forever what they are doing, or at least remain in the same state of consciousness. Day after day, do their little work, and all will go well. But it is not like that. Suddenly, for some reason or another or other, one part of being, either your feelings, your thoughts, your vitals make progress, has discovered something, received a light, progressed. It takes a leap in progress. All the rest remain behind. This brings about a disequilibrium that is enough to make you very tired. But in fact, it is not tiredness. It is something which makes you want to keep quiet, to concentrate, remain within yourself, be like that, and build up slowly a new harmony among the different parts of being. And it is very necessary to have, at a given moment, a sort of rest for an assimilation of what one has learned and a harmonization of different parts of being.
Thanks, Prerna. So this was the question. Hello, Ruhi. Nice to see you after such a long time.
Hi, nice to see you all.
This was the question about why the body gets tired suddenly one day, like this and that. And we have read these two paragraphs. The first one is pretty simple. We've all seen children and how and mother is saying spending is not the problem. And then she's explaining why this disequilibrium happens. What is one of the causes which could be there? And there she talks about one of the parts of the being making a progress and the rest of the other parts have not caught up. So it needs a period of assimilation. So more than tiredness, it is a feeling of wanting to stay quiet. So this is one aspect she's explaining. It doesn't mean all the time it is like this. Anybody, anything to say? Okay. Then we continue. Ruhi, take up this paragraph, please. This one.
Sure, thank you. Now, as you know, from the physical point of view, human beings live in frightful ignorance. They cannot even say exactly, for instance, would you be able to tell exactly at every meal the amount of food and the kind of food your body needs? Simply that, nothing more than that. How much should be taken and when it should be taken? You know nothing about it. There's just a vague idea of it, a sort of imagination or guesswork or deduction, or all sort of things which have nothing to do with knowledge. But that exact knowledge, this is what I must eat. I must eat this much, and then it is finished. This is what my body needs. Well, that can be done. That's a time when one knows it very well. But it asks for years of labor and above all, years of work almost without any mental control, just with the consciousness that's subtle enough to establish a connection with the elements of transformation and progress. And to know also how to determine for one's body exactly the amount of physical effort, of material activity, of expenditure and recuperation of energy, the proportion between what is received and what is given, the utilization of energies to re-establish a state of equilibrium which has been broken, to make the cells which are lagging behind progress, to build conditions for the possibility of higher progress, etc. It is a formidable task, and yet it is that which must be done if one hopes to transform one's body. First, it must be put completely in harmony with the inner consciousness, and to do that, it is a work in each cell, so to say, in each little activity, in every movement of the organs. With this alone, one can With this alone, one could be busy day and night without having to do anything else. One does not keep up the effort and, above all, the concentration nor the inner vision.
Yeah.
Long sentences.
Um, so anything to say? Anything?
You all have this.
I was just thinking that when we talk of physical, I don't even think of each cell, but like going to that minute level of our being, even the physical being.
Hmm. Yeah, so each cell is a very मतलब दूर की बात है. But even this thing about, like we generally eat due to we have set a routine for ourselves and we follow it, and that is more through the mind and all, which is already a step ahead, no doubt. But this direct knowledge of the body, that at this moment this is what is required, it may happen in flashes, and how much is required, and not just food, but she's talking of energy also, how much to spend, how much to receive, etc., etc. Little children, like I have seen so often, I'm sure all of you have, after birthdays, they tend to fall ill because there is too much vital energy that comes into their being, too much excitement, too much, and then their nerves can't take it. And next day, generally, they have a fever or something. With little children, you'll often see this. So, that is another example of.
Or even the reverse is true. Sometimes, if you go for a deep meditation session, after that, the way your body relaxes and you sleep, you don't get that kind of sleep otherwise. So,
Yeah, that is because you are in the inner consciousness. That is a different thing. The rest that you receive. Some people do that. Where they go, I don't know. But power sleeping, uh, it is something. No, actually, I do that these days, most of the time. Not every day, but sometimes around 3:30, 4. I just take, and the body just gets up after 15, 20 minutes automatically. Ila is nodding away. Yeah.
Power naps. They call power naps.
Power nap. Yeah. I've been doing that, and it's interesting to see how one goes feeling very tired, and now I have to stop work and just rest. But after 15, 20 minutes, it's done. So, okay, now the last paragraph. Nishi, you want to take it up?
I have put to you quite a superficial question. It seems astonishing to you that one can know the exact amount of what one should eat and what should be eaten at a certain time, and at what time one should take one's meal, and one is ready for another, and when one is ready for another. Well, that's an altogether superficial part of the problem. Yet, if you enter into the combination of the cells and the inner organization in order that all this may be ready to respond to the descending force, first, are you conscious of your physical cells and their different characteristics, their activity, the degree of their receptivity, of what is in a healthy condition and what is not? Can you say with certainty when you are tired, why you are tired? When there is something wrong somewhere, can you say it is because of this that I'm suffering? Why do people rush to the doctor? Because they are under the illusion that the doctor knows better than they how to look inside their body and find out what's going on there, which is not very reasonable. But still, that's the habit. For oneself, who can look inside himself quite positively and precisely and know exactly what is out of order, why is it disturbed, how it has been disturbed. And all this is simply a work of observation. Afterwards, one must do what is necessary to put it back into order again. And that is still more difficult. Well, this is the ABC of transformation of the body. I don't know how to read this word.
Hola. That's it. There. Hmm. Yeah. Anything to say? Anything to share?
In last paragraph, mother is trying to say, matlab, if I read it, two contradicting things are coming to my mind. Sorry. Two things are coming to my mind. Like one sees itself like a biologically, like which, because when we have read science, it all comes from internal organs a lot. But if I have not read science, and then there's a different way to say yourself, your observation. So these are two images that is coming to me, like
There is no contradiction. These are layers. Like an onion has many layers, Earth's core has many layers. These are layers. So there is no that or we have organs inside us which we can't see unless X-rays and various things. But the organs are there. Yeah. This knowledge also was not there. So they have been like magic. But now we know these are there. Now we know cells are there. We can't see them, but we believe they are there. You and I can't see them, right? So all these are different layers. It's getting into layers of matter, but all this is material reality. But there is also a psychological reality, and then there is a spiritual reality. And all these layers act upon each other. The physical material reality acts upon the mind acts upon the material reality. The physical material reality also acts upon the spirit, and the spirit acts upon the mind and the this thing. So she's just unpeeling another layer. She's not saying organs are not responsible. She's saying if there is a defect, which could be in the organ,
But it is coming from some space that sometimes if we are conscious about it, a little bit like stomach ache or headache or things like that, like infection in your body, I've just, well, you know that if not taken care right now, it will somewhat heaviness in the body, heaviness in the bloating. Few things you can relate to the physical matter, and sometimes you know the emotional thing, the environment has caused it. So yes, thank you for clarifying its layers. It's
again, many people can't even do that much. What you are, many people can't even do that much. Then there comes the other layer, like the somatic work and all, where the psychological issues are. But then there is, like I said, again deeper. Uh, I'll share two instances with you, two things with you, which reading this, one listening to your question came to me, and one reading this. One is I had a gallbladder surgery a few years ago. And when I had the problem at that time, I wasn't aware. But somehow after the surgery, I very distinctly had this impression that there was an inner problem which I identified, and I felt it was this that had been taken out. So it was not something psychological, it was something in my nature which I could see a darkness, which I felt that is what was taken out. So then I could make the connection that the problem was due to that. I couldn't make it before the surgery, but afterwards I could. Another thing I want to share about is I have done this at a very material, physical level, not with the body, but with spaces. Like at times I've done it where I concentrate, take the whole round of the center, and I could feel a darkness somewhere. And then when we physically went, we could see that place was in a mess and needed attention. So in my consciousness, I could connect with that space. I haven't done that, like Mother is talking about in each cell, that you become aware which organ there's a problem, not just organ at the cellular level, in fact, she's talking about, which is the work she was doing last few years of her life, working on her cells. So, yeah, so these are the two levels I wanted to talk about.
Interesting. So it's work on yourself, continuous.
Anybody has anything else to share, or?
Yeah, I think in continuation of that, when the last sentence also talks about observing yourself. So I think a lot about, I mean, I can help myself more than anybody else.
Yeah, the doctor thing, no? That's to doctors. That's what we are taught, always to seek solutions outside.
Yeah.
I think most of the illnesses are psychologically related. I won't say most, but many are psychologically related. And like you said, most of us are not aware of them. It could be stiffness in some part of the body, or, and because of that, some aches or some nerves move, and it could be other things. And if yes, people would be aware of this, and we could all see and, introspect and take our consciousness there, a lot of things like trauma and other things would be healed. And also how this also has an impact on how you change your nature. I've realized it, and I've even with myself, I've realized it. And yeah, I've spoken to some people where it works like that.
Yeah, we are living in times where we are actually quite lucky because we are seeing this transition and we are seeing this awareness coming. In the West, it is coming in a very big way. You can call there are fads and all, but behind all fads and everything, there is a quest and there is a time that is right for that thing to manifest. And here also, various healing therapies, the alternative healing methods, they're working on the subtle and they are working on this connection between the subtle and between the gross. And not just between the psychological and the thing which has been there since some decades, but now more and more also between the subtle energies, invisible energies, and the gross material reality. Has anybody here gone through craniosacral therapy? I'm going for a session on Thursday, then I'll tell you. So apparently they work on the spinal fluid, and it is a what I've heard. Actually, a friend of mine, Rishad, in our Live Divine class, Pooja, he's a craniosacral therapist, but he's based in Bombay. So anyway, somebody was speaking very highly of it and explaining the process to me. So through Rishad, I found somebody in Gurgaon, and I'm going to her on Thursday. Let's see if it is as good as it sounded. But the sound was very good because what they apparently with a very light touch, or it's like they don't try and change things. It is like the touch kind of mirrors to the body directly. It's like a mirror. And the body kind of, through that touch, recognizes where the misalignment is and aligns itself. It's not that the therapist is aligning you. It is like, when the therapists listen to you without judging, without advising anything. So it is that touch is like that therapist, non-judgmental, non-advising, and the body kind of becomes aware and starts correcting itself. That is what I have understood. Let's see.
My family has gone through it in Auroville.
Right.
And they have, yes, every therapy helps in some way, how receptive you are towards it.
Okay.
But talking about alternative, you've heard of pranic healing?
Yeah.
Yeah, before it enters your physical body, there's an aura where it can be stopped at that level. The subtle energies, the subtle bodies.
Huh.
Very
That-
interesting phenomena, yeah.
That Mother and Sri Aurobindo claimed in their writings also that any illness, not just illness, any thought, any influence, any emotion, it first enters your subtle field, and if you become aware of your subtle field, you can stop it there. So, yeah. Anybody else, anything to share or take up? Otherwise, we are done. Okay, then. It's been a wonderful journey from January to now. This is our last session. So we stop here and let's see what happens, how things unfold in the future. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Didi. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Didi.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.